Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today is Tuesday, March 22nd, right? 22nd, 2022. My name is Jeremy. This is my first cup. That was really warm. Lemon ginger today. I feel like this is a little high. There we go. Fix that. Need a grip on set, like over there. Not really. How are you? How was your Monday? I didn't go anywhere. There was if you watched the show yesterday or listen, whatever, I talked about how my road is really bad. I live on a dirt road. It's very muddy, rutted, people losing car parts. Here in Vermont, and I suspect in some other spots, we have something called Front Porch Forum. I know in other parts of the country they have something called Next Door. Same idea. And on Front Porch Forum, an a post came through from our town road department, and they said, "Yep, we know it's really bad." And they mentioned 4 or 5 roads that they said are impassable. One of them is a spine or is a side road off of mine, and they said it's just so soft that they can't get the heavy equipment on the road. It's counterproductive. And I went for a walk about 6 o'clock, and there were areas of the road in the middle of the road where it was so soft I was squishing the road. Like it didn't look like there was anything wrong with the road, but just me standing on it would compress it an inch or two. And that's a spot that's ready to just go to pot. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Dennis. Good morning, Tommy. Good morning, Mark. And good morning, Daniel. Hope you're all well. Good morning to the rest of you. So that was all a long way of saying I didn't even bother going to the end of the road to see if it was passable or not. I will go right after the show today because Andrew is scheduled to come up. We're scheduled to record, and he has less ground clearance than I do. So as difficult as it was for me on Sunday, I don't know that he would be able to make it with what it was. So I'm going to go look and see, can he get through? The answer is no. Can I get through? If I can get through, he can go to the park and ride. I'll grab him there. But looking forward to recording. We had a meeting last night. We were talking about all-in weekend and all the great stuff going on there. We laid out some more plans. What else did I do yesterday? It was Monday, so there was a ton of meetings. I've got one interview today. Got a conversation with some. We have 2 more kind of, let's call them department meetings today. One this evening that I'm looking forward to. One a few hours before that will be about doing a thing that we've done before, but in a different place with different people. So that's kind of exciting. I'm kind of pumped about that. Good morning also, Stacy and Brian. Hey, we've got some good, and there's Andrew. Tommy says, the bottom of my mountain is declared impassable. This is the worst mud season I remember. In this house, anyway. So, not surprised. Tommy says, I've been picking people up with my Jeep and the neighbors pulling people out. Yeah, I've considered getting a tractor at times. If I had a tractor, I would have been grading the road because it would have been softer, or my tractor would be lighter weight than excuse me, town road equipment. I've thought about getting a 4-wheeler just because I could get anywhere. I've thought about getting, for those of you who don't ride motorcycles, they make what are called dual sports, which are road legal sort of dirt bikes. They're kind of in between a regular motorcycle and a dirt bike. The idea being that they're not as unforgiving to ride on pavement, but you should be able to get anywhere. I've thought about that because narrower, should be able to get through, but I haven't bought any of those things. I probably won't. But on days like these, kind of wish I had one. Dennis says, Tommy, my wife declares me impossible. I like it. What did you all do yesterday? Any highlights? Any victories? Any things we should celebrate from this community? Let me know. Drop in the chat. Do you have anything big, cool coming up today? Let me know about that. Tea. I feel like all I do is drink tea all day now. 2 to 3 pots a day. What else is going on? Maple sap's still running. Boiled some more yesterday. I went for a walk. That was nice. Talked to Dennis yesterday. Worked on plan. We've got the plan figured out for tomorrow. I go to New York City tomorrow. Woo! It's crazy. So soon. Got to pack. Not much, but I have to pack a little bit. Yeah. I don't know. Recorded it, Andrew. Record with a guest. Oh, I posted a audio episode on Patreon. For those of you in that tier, you probably saw that. And Patreon people, like, don't be afraid to ask for things. If you want me to talk about a thing or do a video on a thing, like, don't be afraid to ask. I would probably do it for everybody, but I'll almost definitely do it for you because you're Patreon people. Jenny watched a movie. KaeLeigh says they're at $8,000 for their breakathon with 4 more days to go. That's awesome. So great. I don't mind that it's light when I get up. I don't hate this. I'm not sure how I feel about this being the standard moving forward, the daylight savings time, like this being the permanent set versus, the other one. But then again, does it really matter? I don't know. I do know that changing the clocks is dumb. It's unnatural. It's unhealthy for all of us. So I'm glad that it looks like we're not going to be doing that anymore. Fingers crossed. I guess it is easier. I guess I would rather have it light early than late because it's better to, works better for getting up and going to bed. Of course, if you work second shift or something, you'd probably prefer it otherwise, but there's been some interesting studies about working nights, like nothing else being different, just working, let's say, like 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. or one of those, 10 to 6 has it's something significant, like a 30% reduction or increase in all-cause mortality. In other words, working nights is bad for your health, like significantly bad for your health. So if any of you work nights, try not to work nights. There's a reason they have to pay people a differential to make that happen. Mark says daylight savings time is what the time is set in the Philippines. So I'm very happy. Oh, okay. Andrew is already in the car, which seems premature to me. But if you feel optimistic, then go for it. KaeLeigh says, yeah, last week, poor teachers. Time change, full moon, and mud. The kids were crazy. I didn't believe that the full moon had an impact on people until I had my own martial arts school and I was teaching kids. I was like, what the heck? Why are they all... the full moon's a real thing. And then I started to watch it the next few. I was like, okay, this is crazy. Just like when I had my IT company, when Mercury was retrograde, our business was up generally, 20 to 40% every time. You could see it. My staff didn't believe me the first couple of times, and I said, "Look, Mercury retrograde's coming. You'll see. Look, it'll get busier." I'm not like a big believer of astrology, but there's something there because I saw it. I saw it so many times. The moon we could explain in non-astrological terms. I don't know how to explain Mercury retrograde in non-astrological terms, though. So until I come up with a better explanation, that's where I'm going. Jenny said, I was reading some articles that said medical professionals would prefer us to have the light in the morning and darker in the evening because it's beneficial for our circadian rhythm. Totally agree. Makes sense. Jenny's glad she's off the night shift. Andrew, I acknowledge that. Tommy says, I don't like working the back shifts when I had to. 2 to 11:30 was a bit better than 11 to 7:30. Yeah, that doesn't sound very fun. I don't think there's anything else to. I don't think there's anything else. I'm looking at stuff I got to pick up. For any of you who are gardeners, I heard about this catalog, this heirloom seed catalog, and I was like, okay, like I'll check it out. I buy most of my stuff from High Mowing Seeds because they're that way. About an hour, maybe a little less. Yeah, it could be an hour 15. High Mowing Seeds, Vermont company. I try to keep my money local where I can, but this catalog came through Baker Creek. They've got varieties I've never even heard of, some kind of unconventional stuff, and the prices are actually really good. So I sat down with this catalog yesterday. It was one of the highlights of my day because most of you know how much I like gardening, and I've got 8 things picked out. I don't know if I'm going to buy all 8. I got to plan out my garden because things are crazy. The snow's almost gone, which means I can almost start laying out more garden beds. I'm building raised beds everywhere. At least with the wood that I have. I don't know if I'm buying more wood. We'll see. Maybe. And then I got to fill them. So much dirt. That's okay. So, there's your time. I think it's time. I think it's time to switch gears. What do we have today? Now, let's see. We'll start with this one. So over on Facebook, I posted the question. Oh, go away. That was TikTok. First cup. Let me go in here and let me read the question as I posted it because it's a little easier that way. Forgetting logistics, ethics, cost, etc., you can have any pet as an animal or any animal as a pet. Still waking up. What do you choose? The most commented post we've had in ages. And I'll run through all of them because they're fast. Andrew Henderson says a wolf and a raven. Greg says that's just greedy. I think I'd have to go for a giant squid. They give amazing cuddles, I hear. Stacy says a black panther, kestrel, or praying mantis. Dennis says a tiger. I just love the big cats, and tigers are my absolute favorite. Jared says, I think the only correct answer is dinosaur. Ray says, Cringer from He-Man. Was that the cat he rode on? That was the cat with the armor, right? Oh man, He-Man, it's been so long. I remember he had a thing that he rode on, and I remember it sort of being a big cat. Gad says a dragon. Jason says, ancient psychic tandem war elephant. And adds, keep in mind that I would already have all the cats. Barbara says, hippo, emu, tortoise, alpaca in that order. And Mark says, a tiger. These are all great. I appreciate that all of you picked something fun. I was a little nervous when I posted this that a bunch of you would say, a big dog, or, you know, a Maine Coon cat, like something that you could already have. I think I kind of want like a big cat myself, not necessarily a tiger or a lion, like a mountain lion. I think would be kind of sweet. Um, Probably a mountain lion because they could handle the winter. Although tigers seem to be okay, like Siberian tigers seem to be okay. Asian tigers seem to be okay in the snow. Not African tigers. We wouldn't do that to them. It's cold. It was 30 when I woke up. I'm impressed the sap's still running. I thought that streak of warm weather when it was 65 degrees was going to break it. Oh. So fingers crossed on there. Tommy says maybe a black bear too. He already has a big dog. Stacy says a catamount just to confuse the area. Yes. So what she's referencing there, here in Vermont, the mountain lion is officially extinct in Vermont. And yet there are posts, photos that go up on social media every few years from someone saying, I took this picture. People saying, yep, that's catamount. And then you get old farmers or people who live, deep back in the woods, and they say, yeah, I've seen them. But they're officially extinct. Dennis says, I would have said a lion, but I'm already a Leo. Woo! Kelly says an otter. All right, Daniel's helping me out. Yes. Cringer was Battle Cat when He-Man was Prince Adam. Got it. Okay. Tommy says, already had the giraffe interaction. I fed a giraffe once. I was young. How old was I? 8, 10? 10? They have long tongues, and I just remember my hand being slimed. There's probably a photo of that somewhere my mother has. Cool stuff. I just like animals. Animals are cool. I should see what's going on at the border. Maybe I can go over to Granby soon and go to the zoo. I like the zoo. Sonia says an elephant. Elephants are neat. One of my, and who knows when it's going to happen, because not going to that side of the world right now, but I want to pet an elephant. They just seem like the coolest creatures. So, not headed over there anytime soon, but I do like elephants. Riding an elephant seems pretty neat because they're so big, like they wouldn't even know. One of my favorite scenes in the Lord of the Rings trilogy is when what do they call them? They're basically like the mountain people, and they ride through on the Oliphants, like the 4-tusked elephants. And the look on Sam's face when he's like, an Oliphant. I get it. Elephants are neat. Reference to my comment on the draft. Stacy says, I just heard the Ghostbusters line. I've been slimed. All right. Well, Frank did give us something to talk about, and I didn't get it set up yet because I was late to getting things set up because I wasn't moving fast this morning. All right. So we're going to share this. Let's make sure that came through correctly on the feed. All right, here we go. Picture in picture. All right. So there's a martial arts hook to this, so just hang on. On March 8th this year, Anderson Cooper was a guest on a late show with Stephen Colbert. He was broadcasting live from Lviv, Ukraine. Here's part of what he had to say. I've been doing this for 25 years, and I've been in a lot of countries at war. I've never seen a population in a country that has been invaded as unified in their complete loathing of Russia, the attacker. And to a man, woman, and child, their desire to resist this, whatever may come, resist in the short term, and if there is an occupation, because of the overwhelming force of Russians, to resist under any kind of occupation. I've never seen a country as determined and unified. More recently, the BBC reports, Russian operations in Ukraine continue to be largely stalled and plagued by logistical issues, according to assessment from the US-based Institute for the Study of War. In its daily sum up of the campaign, the Institute noted the Russian forces did not conduct any offensive operations near Kiev on Monday, and instead reinforced the defensive position. Similarly, Russian forces in northeastern Ukraine remain stagnant and have been, quote, unable to solve logistics issues, the Institute said. And now Frank's words. I wanted to bring this up on First Cup because I think this is a great example of, as we martial artists would say, spirit first, technique second. And I agree. Now, I don't want to get into anything that is even politically adjacent on this, right? Like, we don't do that on this show. And I'll be honest, when I read this, because I read this before the show, I got about halfway through and I was like, where's Frank going? Because he knows we don't do politics. And he's on board with that. But I like where this goes, right? So forget about the specifics of anything beyond there's a group of people who are doing what was thought not to be doable. The predictions ahead of time were that they would fall quickly. Russia's predictions, at least publicly, were that they would fall quickly. That is not what's happened. They've banded together. This is a real-life version of the end of every martial arts movie, where the hero, the protagonist, is getting beat on. They should lose, but they're not willing to lose. And they're fighting as hard as they can. Now, I'll be honest, I don't think this is going to go the way of most martial arts films. I think this is more of a Rocky scenario. Most of you have seen Rocky, you know what I mean. But I appreciate the sentiment. Now, one of the things that I was taught in martial arts when I was very, very young was that the most dangerous person is someone with nothing to lose. If your country's being attacked, if your home's being attacked, if you or your family are being attacked, and it is overwhelming odds, what do you have to lose? This is the way animals fight. Think of it this way. Would you rather fight a person who is 20 pounds, 30 pounds lighter than you, maybe 6 inches smaller, or, that's a good example, a raccoon? Raccoon's significantly smaller. They have claws. They have sharper teeth. But what makes an animal intimidating? Their ferocity. They fight like there's nothing to lose, because in their world, there aren't just altercations. It's always life or death. It's why you'll see the majority of animals, when cornered, they will respond violently. It's why animals that are hurt when you're trying to help them, in their world, they are now more likely to be prey. So they're going to fight with all they have. And there's a spirit there that I think we very rarely bring into our world. This idea that there's nothing to lose. So let's just go broke here. Let's give it all we have. There are times professionally, there are times personally that we say we're doing that, but do we really? One of the popular sayings in the entrepreneurship world is burn the ships. Don't give yourself an out. Don't leave any other option. Now, I'm not a huge proponent of that, but I will say some of the best things that have happened with whistlekick happened when I had no other choice. There was a point in time when I had maybe a couple months of money, runway left, but I had plenty of sparring gear. This was early days. And I sat down, I made a list of all the ideas that I could come up with. And one of them was, you know what? You really haven't put that much time into Amazon. Now, I've since backed off on Amazon. We're pretty much done. And I would say we are done with Amazon. That might change. But at the time, Amazon made sense. And so I did a bunch of research, figured out what I was doing wrong. And within 2 days, sales went from like 1 or 2 units a week to half a dozen a day. And it ramped up from there. And that catalyzed a big movement within the company. By the way, the next shipment of sparring gear is supposed to release in 3 weeks. It's taken a while. And I'm going to have to raise prices. But there is gear coming. So, yeah. Tommy says, the best fighters fight like there's something coming out of them. Kelly says, when I worked as a vet assistant, the worst were the tiny dogs, so vicious. Because they constantly felt threatened. I would imagine that's a big part of the neurosis of a lot of smaller dogs, right? Like anybody who's spent time around, let's say, Chihuahuas, they know that Chihuahuas are just like, they're almost vibrating constantly with nerves. And I think that that's part of it. I think they're so small that their fight or flight is constantly engaged. And they don't know what to do. Now, all of this is to say that there's something here that you can learn from. There's something that you can take into your life. Now, it doesn't have to be. Hopefully, it is never how you show up in an actual fight. I don't want any of you to ever have to fight. But if you do, be ferocious, bare your teeth, growl, be wild. Nobody wants to fight somebody like that. In life, recognize that there is so much more power, passion, whatever you want to call it, than we really use. And if you want to call on it, you can. You just have to have a really solid why. All right. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I appreciate all of you. Make note, this mug, you don't have to be martial arts to be cool, but it helps. This mug releases next month. I'm going to drink out of it at least a few times leading up to that, just to remind you. And if you want to support us, we've got a few things. You can join the Patreon. I mentioned new audio episode released on the Patreon. There's other stuff going on several times a week. You want access to it? Starts at $2 a month. Patreon.com/whistlekick. If you want to buy something, like not quite this mug yet, but another mug or a shirt or a hoodie, or if some of the sparring gear we have fits you right now, right? Like any of those things, use the code FIRSTCUP15 to save 15%. The whole list is available at whistlekick.com/family. It is not linked. You got to type it in. But if you type it in, there's fun behind the scenes stuff, sometimes discounts that we don't release anywhere else. I update it weekly and I make sure it is worth your while. So I would encourage you all to get in the habit of just scanning it once a week. And I even put the date and time at the top that it was last changed. If you have questions or comments, the best place is on the Facebook page. I'm going to leave a Facebook comment for you to post to right after this show. If you don't do Facebook, you can email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. And remember, we do the show every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time, on Facebook, on YouTube, today on Twitch. Monday, Wednesday, Friday is Twitter. Tuesday, Thursday is Twitch. I hope you have a great day. I hope to see you back here tomorrow. And be well, everyone. Take care. Peace.